Minasan konbanwa, welcome to Jarvis in Japan podcast where me, Jarvis, a data scientist in Japan, give you news, stories, and other bits about my life in Japan every 2 days. Well, I try every 2 days. My best. I try my best. And today, I'm going to continue my talk of my trip in Matsuyama City in Ehime prefecture. It's the start of the sakura season. Matsuyama is the perfect place to enjoy that. But Matsuyama has some really famous places in Japan. And one of them today, well, it's Japan's oldest onsen. What to talk about? Because I was looking at the history while I was there and it's quite interesting. So I'm talking about that today and some more. So enjoy. Otanoshimi. So onsen is a famous thing in Japan. If you don't know what an onsen is, it's a bathhouse. It's Japanese-style bathhouses. And when you think of onsen, maybe one will come to mind, even if you've never been to one, and that's the Studio Ghibli movie. As if you've seen Spirited Away, the very, very famous onsen scene. Very big house, lots of stories, lots of rooms, and there's a big bathhouse. So it's basically just a big bathhouse. And Japan's most famous bathhouse, the one what the Studio Ghibli movie is based on, is Dogo Onsen, and that's in Matsuyama City. And I didn't go inside, sadly, but I walked around the whole area. And while it made me want to learn a little bit more about this place, but it turns out Dogo Onsen is actually one of Japan's oldest onsens. It's got 3,000 years of history. It's in Japanese mythology, when originally a magical crane came down from the skies and settled on the onsen, or on the ground became the onsen, and gave its power to the water and to this area, and from there it became a famous onsen. But originally, it's quite interesting, it wasn't actually a building. When you think of onsen in Japan, it's a building you go into, but originally it was just some pools of hot water. No buildings, just normal pools out in the open, where you can just go and bathe in. We call that in Japanese now, Roten Boro. Roten Onsen, ine. And this onsen is actually what I found interesting in some of the famous Japanese literature as well. Probably the most famous one being Botchan, Natsume Sosaki's famous book, Botchan, about a very, lonely guy. And it's all themed in Matsuyama, and one of the places to go to is the onsen. There's lots of history and connections to Japanese culture with onsen, so it's quite cool. And just walking around the site, you can very see its grandeur in it. And at the moment, it's being refurbished, so it's kind of hidden behind a really colourful scaffolding. Really, really colourful. It's just the kids going over them, just drawn over it in pencil and crayons, and it's a bit of a mess, really. But it means they're keeping the onsen preserved, keeping it fit to be a good place. And there's another onsen as well close by, another really famous one, Asukanoyu Onsen, what's more like a Japanese temple, really, but it's red. Walking past this one surprised me a bit. I was like, is that a temple? Is it Jinja-ka? But nope, it's an onsen. So if you get bored of Dogo Onsen, there's more onsens to enjoy. And now we're going to go on some other things in this area. Because there's one shrine I found, is really special. This is a really good shrine to visit if you like Japanese shrines. And that is Ise Nima. No, I was wrong there. Ise Nima Jinja. Ise Nima Shrine. And if you've seen pictures of Japanese shrines or on top of a hill, you've got to walk up a lot of steps, and then you have an amazing view of the surrounding city from the top. This is one of those shrines. And it's very close to Dogo Onsen. After an onsen visit, you can take a little relax, pick up some koiguni, and then go and climb up the steps. This onsen is one of the Hachiman onsen groups, with the main shrine of that shrine groups being Usa? That's Usa Jingu in Oita prefecture. So there's lots of different types of shrines in Japan, but some of them grouped together are quite cool. And one thing was surprising when inside Izaniwa, shrine, there's actually a lot to see inside as well. Like normally you walk into the main shrine and then do the prayer and leave, but when you walk into this one, it's more like a little museum. You can walk around it as well inside. There's a lot inside. I gotta say, there's a lot inside. And what's interesting, if you go to the back of this shrine, there's things called ema. So ema in Japan, these are like wood paintings. Paintings on wood. You see a lot of them in shrines, like hanged up. And these are very old-fashioned ones that actually been refurbished. So they're very nice to look at, and some actually show quite interesting parts of Japanese history. One being one was quite surprised me of the war they had with Russia. Was it early 19th century? Yeah, that happened. But if you keep on walking past those, there's some really special ema. And these dedicated to math. Math, yes, shrines and math. What? You wouldn't think they go together, but they actually do. And this is a Japanese style of math called wasan. Wa being peace and san calculation. This is ancient old style Japanese math. And it's not like math we have today, like arithmetic, like algebra. This is more like geometry puzzles, using a soroban, like a Japanese style calculator, with beads to work out complex geometry patterns. And some of them, well, they're actually world renowned, some of these problems that, well, some of the greatest mathematicians of today still have trouble solving. And for such a problem, they put them on, well, ema, like I said, these wooden drawings, and they put them up in the shrine as well as a proof of their knowledge, really. Like, you put that in a shrine and people come to, like, can you solve my problem? Like, you can't solve it. I can. Like, show a bit of pride, really, right? Like, they're good at math. And there's actually a lot of culture of this around Japan. So it's worth looking up when you visit shrines that is there a math ema. Because quite a lot of them do have them. And you could literally do a math tour of Japan if you're really into that. I did have a go while I was in the shrine, but sadly I couldn't solve it. So if you do go there and you're a better mathematician than I, please have a go and let me know. So now we go down Ise Nima Shrine, because there's a lot of steps, and walk down to the street, because it's a nice little street you can walk down. Down the steps, down the street, and then there's big gates. You get to a very interesting part. It's Dogo Onsen station. Because if you don't know about Matsuyama, there's one interesting thing I found. There's trams in Matsuyama. Like, that's rare for Japan. Like, there's very old-fashioned style trams which still operate in Japan. And the station for this, the last station, in Dogo Onsen, is a very old-fashioned station. It's still got the old woodwork design, which is very nice to look at. There's also a Starbucks inside. Always a thing with Starbucks in Japan, they sneak in there. And all the nice little buildings, they stick Starbucks in. And it's like, damn them. But Starbucks in Japan is quite good, so it's not too bad. And if you just walk down past there, you get to another must-visit place, especially in the sakura season. Because when you think sakura parks, you got to visit Japanese parks. And Dogo Park is one place you have to visit. And especially because there's a little observation post on top of a little hill, what again can give you amazing views of the surrounding area. Well, Matsuyama is full of these. Like little high places, you can see the whole area. It's great. Because there's a lot in Matsuyama. There's quite a lot of people who do live here. And it's definitely a place I want to go back and visit again. But now I have left Matsuyama and actually I'm in an island. I'm on an island called Shodo Shima. Shodo Island. And for the next few episodes we'll talk about my travels and what I'm doing on this island. Well, it should be good fun because today it was lovely weather and I was able to do a nice little hike up a mountain. So tanoshii. But that before next episode. So stick around, subscribe, and if you like this podcast, please leave a comment. That'd be much appreciated, especially if you're on iTunes. So, 皆さん、最後まで聞いてくれて本当にありがとうございました。じゃあね。